So this is a death montage for David, Ben, and I for a competitive loss on Busan. And so the first death is my death. I am Roadhog, and I'm doing my whole hog, and I think I'm safe because I'm behind the shield, and I'm next to a pillar. And whenever you're doing the whole hog, you cannot heal yourself, so you are vulnerable to the enemy being able to kill you. But my problem here is that I believe I was completely unaware of the Torbjorn that was over here that had a free line of sight on me. And so really I should have been probably a little farther forward and protected myself with this natural cover. But the Torbjorn ends up killing me. And then gets off its ultimate. Uh, and so that way I was not really using cover in a smart way. So this is kind of an unlucky death. That Ben as Junkratz, he tries to use his concussion mine to jump and then be with the team, which is a good idea of itself. But he ends up landing on the molten core, and the molten core, along with I believe a turret shot over here, ends up killing him. And so it probably would have been a better idea to use your concussion mine and jump over in this direction, and used the shield for more cover. And so, but by jumping in this direction, you're free for the enemy team to kill you. Now, this actually, David does not end up dying here, but he ends up almost dying, and we have to use a lot of resources to keep him alive. And so at first, David was positioned on the right side, away from the enemy team, which is great. But a diva ends up using her bomb, which forces David to move. Now, instead of, because Ben's here, I'm here, our Zenyatta's here, and we did have a really good line of engagement, but the diva bomb messes that up. Instead of David moving backwards when the diva bomb happens, and using this pillar, like what Ben is doing and what I'm doing, to protect ourselves from the diva bomb, David moves towards the enemy team, which ends up costing us a lot of resources. Because I will come in and use defense matrix to save him. Our Moira will use a lot of her healing, and the Zenyatta will end up using his transcendence to also save David. So instead of David moving backwards and his decision to move forwards towards the enemy team, that ends up costing us a lot of resources. And also the enemy team is using their Orisa ultimate, and whenever an enemy team is using an offensive ultimate like Orisa's, you tend to want to move away. You want to retreat from the enemy team. You don't want to move towards the enemy team. So they're using the offensive ultimates. David moves towards the enemy team. He keeps on moving towards them. He almost dies. I come in with my defense matrix. The Moira is there to heal him. The Zenyatta uses the ultimate to save him. And so that's is a mistake that you don't tend to want to make. And so here, Ben is set up with the crossfire, which in and of itself isn't a bad idea. It's a good idea in a lot of scenarios to have a crossfire, where most of our team is here. If you use this pillar and this room over here as natural cover, then as a soldier or as a Junkrat, you can spam damage towards the enemy team. But if you want to do that, you want to be safe by staying behind the pillar. And what ends up happening is Ben ends up in no man's land, and he uses his concussion mine to try to retreat back to the team. But the Orisa will pull him, and then they'll be able to kill him. and actually used his mind to try to kill the soldier. But there's also an example of a mistake I make because as Diva, I've switched to Diva, and I try to do the pro strats of using the Diva's flights to go through the team and return back to our team where you provide a little disruption, but you return back to your team safely. And I end up misjudging the Diva flight, and I end up landing here, which gives the entire enemy team free shots at me. I don't end up dying, but I, for just a very little amount of disruption, I give them a lot of ultimate charge and put a lot of pressure on my team by that mistake.